These include funding, infrastructure, standards, welfare, and administration. Citing the problems that trailed the Delta State senatorial election and the Anambra State governorship election as examples, the APC is asking that INEC be overhauled and the Justice Owe's report on electoral reforms be implemented. The communique is also asking the federal government to stop what the party considers to be an indiscriminate deployment of the police, which is a bad omen for the 2015 elections.
The debate for a national dialogue continues to make headlines, with more Nigerians lending their voice to the matter. One of those in support of the dialogue is literary icon Professor John Pepper Clark, who sees the call by President Goodluck Jonathan as a timely opportunity for Nigerians to finally sit down and talk.
I think that's the best for Nigeria. And when Jonathan says he's not a pharaoh, he's not a general, sympathize with him. He cannot clean this rubbish, clear this sin that we've had for 50 years or 60 years in 4 years. And he's calling this convention, this Congress, it's a good choice. Let Nigerians sit down. Not in conferences in London, not in guarded cabinet rooms in Abuja.
Well, those who ply the Enugu-Port Harcourt Expressway, especially the Abia State axis of it, may soon heave a sigh of relief as the federal government has flagged off the rehabilitation and reconstruction of the road. At the ceremony, the Minister of Works, Mike Onolememen, noted that the project, which will cost 90.3 billion naira, is in line with the commitment of the Jonathan administration to revamping critical infrastructure across the country. For the host, Governor Theodore Oji, the project is a demonstration of the concern the presidency has for the Southeast Zone.
The decision of the federal government under President Goodluck Jonathan, JCFR, to commence the rehabilitation and reconstruction of the road, starting the work from the most deplorable stretch of the road within Abia State, a state renowned for commerce and a state close to Mr. President's heart.
This road has been in a bad state for many years. But now it's going to wear a new look. That is to say, it is not President Jonathan that destroyed the road. He came and saw, and he's doing something. Some will come and see, and they will not do anything. The importance of this road has been told to every person. Very, very essential road as far as the South is concerned.
The Ogun State government is partnering with the Malaysian government to revamp the state's agricultural sector. While receiving the delegates from the Malaysian Ministry of Agriculture, led by its Secretary General Japto Abdullah, Governor Ibibkunle Amosu noted that the Malaysians are competent enough to assist the state in agricultural development. On his part, Mr. Abdullah pledged his team's readiness to commence work.
We come to conclusion that there must be a collaboration between Ogun State and Ministry of Agriculture. So I'm in charge of that. I have already discussed with my officers that we are going to assign our officer to take charge of the collaboration.
We know that you have the competence, the wherewithal to assist us. Now this is just further attesting to the fact that our thoughts on you is not misplaced. Our views on what you can do is totally spot on. I'll be looking at least to start with maybe even in 10 of our local governments, We have about 20 local governments. But the truth is that, except for those ones that is probably totally organized, all our local governments, they have their own uniqueness. Some rice will grow very well, cassava will grow in this, palm oil, palm plantation will grow in this, rice will do well, cassava, cotton, name it. There's arguably probably none of all these products that will not probably grow in local states. So we will look into where we think we have comparative advantage, so we will not just be jack of all trades.
Now, after the break, a Hezbollah militant commander is assassinated in Beirut.
And in sports news, the Nigerian Football Federation says it has not set any targets for the Super Eagles at the 2014 World Cup in Brazil.
Please join us again.
Many factors define your health. Some you can control, while others are simply beyond you. On Health News, we highlight all these factors and through medical experts provide information that will help you take informed decisions on healthy living, nutrition, and keeping fit. Get incisive health policy analysis. Health News, promoting good health.
Welcome to Business News. Banks and other financial institutions that bought bonds from the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria have the option of selling them in form of treasury bills when they mature by the end of the year. Now, this is according to the Chief Executive Officer of the Financial Markets Dealers Quotation, Mr. Bola Onadele.
According to Mr. Onadele, there are indications that the Central Bank of Nigeria is trying to protect the financial market from excess liquidity, thus prompting the need to convert the maturing bonds to treasury bills instead of cash.
There's a bit of conflict at the end. Okay. The central bank's program at times do not perfectly align. Most of the banks that have those maturities will probably have been looking forward to receiving cash because the bond is maturing and the natural thing is for them to be paid. And then they can use the cash to settle some obligations because some of them could also be owing some other parties and would like to pay down and then, have, what is left and then determine investment. But the central bank as well realizes the dangers of having too much cash in the system. So I don't know the sort of securities the central bank is giving them, because for monetary policy, the central bank has different types of instruments that it can give to these banks or the investors. I don't know what AMCON is giving them. AMCON may have positions in treasury bills and it's giving them treasury bills. So people can take these treasury bills and sell in the market. The market is liquid.
The Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, LCCI, says it will continue to press for improvement in the private sector's role in the economy. Reckoning that the government has realized the positive impact of the private sector in the economy, President of the Chamber, Mr. Gudi Ibru, calls for a further reduction of government's involvement in business activities.
There's still a lot to be done. There's a lot to be achieved. For instance, the private sector has succeeded in convincing government that the government has no business in business, in the sense that the government cannot run enterprises, and has succeeded in convincing the government to privatize. And the latest is the power sector. The Power Holdings Company of Nigeria, for instance, has now been privatized. The assets are now being given over to those who won the bids. I think these are important steps forward, and it is our hope that if we continue in vein, the economy will be the stronger for it. In modern time, there are a lot of regulation. Business is highly regulated, and Nigeria in particular is one of the most highly regulated countries in the world. So unless you know the laws regulating your business, you find it difficult to be on the right side of the law.
Nigeria and other African countries have agreed to support trade, agriculture, and help the least developed economies. This agreement was reached by the African trade ministers at the ongoing World Trade